Last week marked the 25th anniversary of Pokemon going by the Japanese release, and after the announcement of Pokemon Sun and Moon, it seemed appropriate to do another top 5 video about Pokemon. We did one a while ago about the top 5 Pokemon spin-off games, but decided that this one should be a tribute to the main series and the various secrets and interests it holds. My name is Steve Knauer, and this is GameZone's Top 5 of the Week. This week, Top 5 Pokemon Theories. Number 5. Ditto the Mew Clone. This theory is backed by the idea that Ditto and Mew have the same colors, and even their shiny variants have the same colors as well. Mewtwo is called the only successful clone of Mew, so it can only be assumed that there were failed ones. Ditto seems to fit this mark because of the colors, but also, both Mew and Ditto are genderless. Both of them have the same base stats. They both are the only Pokemon to use Transform. Mew and Ditto can learn every move in the game, but Ditto's moveset is temporary while Mew can literally learn every move in the game. Their height and weight are very similar as well. Mewtwo is said to be created on Cinnabar Island, which is a place that's crawling with Ditto. It would only make sense to find the failed clones in the areas surrounding where Mewtwo was born. Number 4. Coughing and Wheezing, a Team Rocket experiment. Coughing and Wheezing are a strange set of Pokemon to be walking around in the natural world. Now, you'll have to use a little bit of suspension of disbelief on this one to see where we're going with it. Because, let's face it, most of Pokemon doesn't make sense in the regular world. Coughing and Wheezing seem to be the embodiment of pollution, which is mostly a human creation. So how much of a stretch would it be to say that these Pokemon were a human invention? They even have a human warning label on them, a skull and crossbones, to signify poison. Most Team Rocket grunts use coughing or wheezing, and yet they're only found in a factory in Pokemon Red and Blue. The theory: Team Rocket created coughing and wheezing, and the factory was theirs. According to a Reddit post about this theory, there weren't many ghost Pokemon in Generation 1. There was actually only Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar, but ghosts would make excellent thieves as they go through walls and disappear and scare victims. But in classic Team Rocket fashion, instead of legitimately trying to catch ghost Pokemon to attain these qualities, they tried to cheat and make their own. Needless to say, it didn't go very well, but they were left with an untold number of failed experiments. Seems like a good idea to give these failed experiments to your low-level grunts, if you're the boss of Team Rocket. Number 3. The Pokemon War Theory. This theory's been around forever, and it would be a disservice to leave it out. It's thought that there was a great war before the events of Pokemon Red and Blue. To quote a creepypasta post, "You have no father, and your best friend is an orphan. Children are going on journeys across the world. Your mother accepts you as the man of the house, making your own decisions. Old men warn you of dangers around the corner. Most people you meet are children and/or gym leaders. Most adult men are either very old or have a job related to the military or organized crime. Hospitals and gyms are everywhere, but no form of entertainment such as movie theaters. Lieutenant Surge tells you, 'Hey kid, what do you think you're doing here? You won't last long in combat, that's for sure. I'll tell you what kid, electric Pokemon saved me during the war. You now realize that there was a war in Kanto. Your father died and your rival lost his parents. You are among the first generation of people to live in a peace at post-war time.'" Now, of course, this is more of a fun theory to explain the glaring plot holes in the Pokemon world, but it does fit neatly into the mythos. Lieutenant Surge's mere appearance is what brought this theory to life. He vaguely mentions a war, but doesn't really expand upon it. This happens in fiction all the time, but over years, more and more of this evidence is talked about and piled up, and it really becomes a quite plausible theory. Number 2. What is Wobbuffet? What is Wobbuffet? Well, the simple answer is, he's the patient Pokemon. A blue, wobbly Pokemon with a black tail with eyes. He's patient because he never initiates attack and only retaliates. The more complicated answer is, Wobbuffet is that small black tail with eyes, and the loud, wobbly blue figure is his decoy. In his description across multiple games, his small black tail is mentioned, as well as a counter-attack using his pumped-up body. It's said that he hides in dark caves to hide his tail, and that he can endure attacks on the tail. causing him to counterattack when it happens. Which implies that the attacks on his blue portions don't really bother him that much, but that his tail is really vulnerable. This must mean that the blue portion is just a punching bag used to distract predators from the important part of Wobbuffet, the sentient tail. The fact that both Wynot and Wobbuffet have a tail with eyes shows that it's important, along with the recurring mentions in the Pokédex. The punching bag also always has its eyes closed, implying that it might just be an artificial face. Number 1. The origin of Cubone. Have you ever looked at a Kangaskhan's baby? The one that's in the pouch? Look at his horns. Don't they look awfully familiar? That's because that's the same shape as Cubone's skull hat, which is not a coincidence. There are a number of theories on how this would have worked, but basically a baby Kangaskhan in the mother's pouch is supposed to be a baby Cubone pre-tragedy. The entry about Cubones talks about the skull that it wears on its head and how it's its mother's. The entry, mixed with this theory, makes Cubone the first evolution after it separated from its mother. It would then evolve into a Marowak and eventually into a Kangaskhan. This is actually less of a theory and more of a scrapped idea that was dug up from the game files. According to the Fan Theories wiki, this was actually written into the game before launch, but was taken out because it was too dark for a kid's game, and the lore was scrapped and Marowak was re-scripted to be the final evolution. The proof actually lies within the hidden components of the game. The mid-tier Marowak that was going to be between the Cubone and the Kangaskhan was actually moved to an unnumbered slot in the game instead of being deleted. This catchable Pokemon is M, Missing Number's sister. M is actually a scrapped prototype Marowak. This theory can be confirmed if you catch M and level it up. It actually will evolve into a Kangaskhan. Pokemon has been around in pop culture for 25 years now, and obviously, this is just a few choice theories floating around on the internet. If your favorite didn't make the cut, let us know in the comments. If you'd like more news about Pokemon Sun and Moon, be sure to check out GameZone.com and subscribe to our channel for more top 5 videos. If you'd like to see more from me, come check out my Let's Play channel in the link below. My name is Steve Knauer, and this has been GameZone's Top 5 of the Week.